views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Wow. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so thrilled to be reaching out to all of you. It is an amazing day today. Guess what? Today, we get to talk about the hidden energetic and spiritual causes behind all illnesses with Dr. Abraham Jaffe. Now, listen, this is something that is not just an academic conversation. It's not simply something that we're, let's just say, theorizing about. It is about how each of us gets to look at the illnesses we have and what we're willing to be open to. Certainly that was the case for me. That was the case, on my healing journey. But I didn't have Dr. Jaffe. So I didn't really have a way to understand what was working in my life, what was not working in my life, what spiritual healing was or wasn't. And now today, this amazing licensed medical doctor for the last 30 years pioneered advanced energetic and spiritual healing right here in our own backyard, brings to all of us this unique synthesis of traditional medicine combined with extensive knowledge of integrative medicine, and guess what? Spiritual healing. Because for decades and decades and centuries, something about spiritual healing was going on in the world that we left out of the equation. Well, those days are gone. Dr. Jaffe has taken his message all over the world. He speaks at medical centers. And he connects with you and me to not only say, this is what you can do, but this is what you can learn. This is how you can learn it. Today, we're going to be talking about how this incredible teacher, healer, amazing doctor took his message out into the world, where it was, where it is now, and where it's going. Dr. Jaffe, welcome to the show. I'm very excited about this message today.
Thank you, Dr. Pat, and I'm very happy to be with all of you who are listening, the listeners, and delighted to bring this message, which is really a message of hope and a message of healing to the people, all over the world who are struggling and, are looking for ways to make changes in themselves where nothing seems to be working and they don't know why they're sick or why things aren't working. And this is a system that can help them to do that.
Well, and I was one of those people. I was, that person that initially, or on the surface, shall I say, was healthy one day, and then the next day I wasn't. And off I went on a journey. And, today we're going to talk about how you got to come into your own awareness about this, your own personal healing journey. Where did this start with you? When did you realize you had a gift or an insight or something? How did that happen for you?
That's a great question. Well, I seem to have had it as a child. It was something that, I was very aware of subtle sort of energies or feelings as a kid. And when my dog, a little beagle, developed what I thought was this very large tumor on its swelling, and I was feeling it. I brought it over to my parents, and I said, "What do you think about this?" And they felt it. They said, "I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing here." So I was very aware of it. And then about 5 years later, all of a sudden, that hip blew up into this massive hard tumor. And then shortly after, the dog died. And that was when I realized that, first of all, that I had that gift. And secondly, later, that people could learn that gift if they worked on their subtle awareness. That's part of the teachings that we're doing.
It's part of the teaching. It's part of the teaching. And, how present was it for your mother to, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, wow, what insight, what a generational legacy of awareness too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, a lot of us, we have these wise parents that are kind of recognizing something about their kids. and a few of us are, we really stand by them, and slowly it opens, and then all of a sudden the kids blossom. I was lucky I had a mom who did that, and I do really have to thank her, because I think a lot of what happened through her love.
Oh, boy. I too relate to that. There's something about that that's so honoring, but also so witnessing. And, as we take a look and we speak today, this is one of many conversations you and I will have moving forward, and be able to share with our listeners that, look, there is a way out of suffering, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely right. And if you think about it, we just got the message today. One of our friends was found, she stopped coming to work, and they went and checked on her yesterday, and they found her body in her house. And, she's 60 years old. She's not old. But, when I thought about it, she didn't have the love. She didn't have the care. She was single. She was alone. Nobody was thinking about her. And somehow, without that love and care, all of a sudden she just left, she died. And this is really a lot of people, especially, during the holiday seasons in the West, a lot of people are very lonely, and a lot of people are sad, and their families are gone. And this is a time as a physician where we often see illness start to appear. And a lot of it comes out of that broken heart and the people not getting love. And that's actually the first step of healing, is actually returning the heart to that place of love, so people feel connected, cared for, valued, appreciated, and all those things. And once that starts to happen, we start to kick the healing off, and it begins.
Yeah, one of the things that, too, we're going to talk about also today is what are the possibilities here? Where are we standing when we stand in the possibilities of healing? Now, also, I want to just make sure that we have a special gift for folks today, and we're going to talk about that, what Dr. Jaffe has put together. Dr. Jaffe, let's talk about this. In terms of your journey and your story, you are an example of how this works. And then, what happens is, as a youngster, right? Somebody that's in you're in your 20s. What was your awakening about this like? I'm so interested about how was your life affected by it?
Right. Well, I think I began to sort of develop the consciousness about healing. It happened in medical school, and I started to become aware of, the subtle lights in disease. I would see somebody walk in, and I would be aware of a yellow light around their pancreas, and I would start to watch it, and then we would do tests and find out they had pancreatitis. So, the light started to appear, and then I found out that actually a lot of times the light that I was seeing was pre-appearance. In other words, the light was there, and the disease was just starting to come into the body. So that became like the next step of awareness, that actually these diseases are showing up prior to manifestation in the body as these lights. And that was a real key teaching for me personally as I began to say, look, if I can see this light and I can find it before it manifests in the body, is it possible that we could heal it before it gets into the body and maybe the disease wouldn't show up? And that became my search. And sure enough, it actually turned out to be right. Once we could find and access that light and change it, we could heal the disease before it showed up. Or once it was in the body and we would return itself back once we got it back to that light and we'd heal it at that light level, sometimes, in fact, most of the time, the disease would leave the body. So all of a sudden, this light became the fulcrum point of essentially the whole system. How did we find that light? How did we change that light? That was the first step of the healing process.
Yeah, and we've got so much to talk with Dr. Jaffe about today. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about what is it about this energetic, vibrational dialogue that's going on globally now. What is it about our culture that has a blockbuster movie out there about energy medicine and energy healing? And what is it about Dr. Jaffe that is out in the world, speaking at medical centers, speaking with people all over the world, and being able to share not just a story, but demonstrate results? And why is this now, as Dr. Oz said many years ago, and they were many years ago, that this field of medicine is the future, but the future is right now. If you have any questions for us today, for Dr. Jaffe, for what we're talking about, have any questions about your own illness, disease, whatever you reference it as, 1-800-930-2819. 1-800-930-2819. When we come back, we're going to talk about what is it about Dr. Jaffe, the Sufi master, what is it about the ancient wisdom that is calling forth a mega healing? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When we said goodbye, the world turned a darker shade. The dust settled down, stones changed color in the rain.
Winning at the game of money. Lynn Brown is now offering Full Spectrum Finance, a progressive 12-month program that will help you to navigate through the mechanics of financial expansion. Finally, a financial planner who looks at the full spectrum of money and abundance. Engage you in the mental, physical, and energetic aspects of finance. This is Full Spectrum Finance. Are you ready to get into it? For more information, go to fullspectrumfinance.com.
How would you like increased health and vitality? How would you like to avoid the onset of disease as well as slow the aging process? This is all possible through a simple, safe, and natural process. Every day we are either moving toward wellness or away from wellness.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. I'd like to be your partner in achieving optimal health. Contact me now at maryjanemack.com or call 425-392-0659. Visit maryjanemack.com.
Best-selling author, spiritual life, and business coach Joe Nunziata brings his higher energy and no-nonsense style to people who are ready to make powerful changes now. Wake up, step up, power up with a shot of Joe. Join Joe the second and fourth Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern for 30 minutes of high energy, no nonsense, and powerful tools to make powerful changes. Visit joenuns.com. That's JOENUNZ.com.
Your happiness is your choice on Natural Peace Radio. Follow Sarah Van Ryswick as she addresses the power of emotions. Each month, Sarah covers different topics as she helps listeners activate their energetic spark and create powerful energy and amazing opportunities. Manifest your desires with Natural Peace Radio. For more information on Sarah and her work, visit naturalpeaceliving.com.
Integrate spirituality into your everyday lives on Universe Soul Heart Radio. Tune in each month on Transformation Talk Radio as Kathleen Johnson explores the concept of sensible spirituality, keeping you grounded, connected, and centered on the path to wholeness. Kathleen has dedicated her life to facilitating holistic healing and wholeness in others. Listen to Universe Soul Heart Radio and learn how to flourish, grow, and impact all we do on planet Earth. For more information, go to universesoulheart.net.
Are you stuck in unhealthy habits, toxic relationships, or low self-esteem? Do you crave a life of inspiration, love, self-acceptance, and fun? Sounds like you're on the verge to your next big thing. Join Laura Richer, host of On the Verge Radio, helping you use your breakdown for a breakthrough, overcome life's greatest challenges, and live the life you want and deserve. Tune in each month on Transformation Talk Radio or visit SeattleHealingHypnosis.com for more information.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. It's great to have all of you tune us in, turn us on. I am so thrilled. The hidden energetic and spiritual causes behind all illnesses, with Dr. Jaffe joining me here today. And as I said before, we are going to be doing an entire series with Dr. Jaffe on this as we move into next year, because there are secrets to self-healing. There are also mysteries to disease that are really well explained. But what is the role of spirituality? And I use that term very broadly because we are now calling forth ancient wisdom in so many, many ways. So we can change, we can shift. And what is it that we can learn? Dr. Jaffe, this is really a powerful conversation, in that we see so many people right now in our contemporary society, modern society, calling forth ancient wisdoms in so many ways. Why not healing?
Yeah, why not? That's a great question. Well, in my case, I was, a medical doctor who found this energetic process. And through that, we actually had about 30 or 40,000 people heal. And then I got sick with, my heart began to fail. And the energetic process I was using wasn't working. And I started, looking around, and when I realized I was basically down to about 6 months to live. And I thought, well, I really need to find an expert because, the traditional systems aren't working. And if I'm going to live, I'm going to need to find somebody who really knows how to heal the heart, and I looked for this ancient wisdom you're talking about. And, all the paths started pointing back to the Sufis. And the Sufis were, a very mystical, ancient, teaching that emanated from the prophetic tradition, from the prophet Abraham, and then down, through Moses. And Jesus was, rumored to have been exposed to it, and then down to Muhammad. So all the sort of monotheistic traditions were teaching this inner dimension of ancient wisdom, through this prophetic understanding of one's connection to God. And when I was dying, I heard about this Sufi master who came to the U.S., and I met him, and he looked at my system of healing, which, as I said, was good because we were healing, 30, 40,000 people. And what he said after seeing it was, you know what? He said, your healing method is worthless. And it was really shocking to me. I thought, what do you mean? I said, I've healed 30,000 people with this method. How could you say it's worthless? And he said that if you heal somebody energetically, and you don't heal their heart, and you don't bring them back to God, and you don't elevate them spiritually, that you haven't really healed anything. You've just changed out one system for another. And he told me, he said, yeah, you're changing their energetics, you're changing their light, helping them with their emotions, but you haven't changed their heart, you haven't changed their soul, you haven't brought them closer to God, you're not elevating them spiritually, you haven't elevated their spiritual consciousness. He said, by not doing that, you have not really addressed the very reasons they got sick. And, that was incredibly profound to me at the time. It's almost shocking because you have something that really works. And then you see somebody saying to you, wait a minute, there's something very wrong in that system because you're missing the heart, the soul, the spirit, the connection to God. So, and of course, my system I wasn't dealing with. And he said, that's why you're not healing you. He said, your system isn't changing the heart or the soul. And if you're going to heal your heart and soul, you have to really, apply that to your healing method. So I took on his system. I said, look, can you, promise me I'll heal because I've got 6 months left to live here? And he said, yes. So we took on I took on his system of healing, and within a month, the disease began to leave. Within 6 months, I was very healthy, and within a year, it was completely gone. And, since that time, using the same system, we've healed many people of congestive heart failure and atrial fibrillation and, even, things like, artery disease and things like that. But it's using that same system of really addressing, the heart. Why are we loving? Why have we closed our heart to love? Why don't we care about people? Why don't we feel cared about? And when we get to those root causes inside of ourselves that are directly connected to the disease, and then we change them, this magnificent healing happens.
Yeah. I have to tell you, my personal experience and literally, Dr. Jaffe, and we have a caller that we're going to get to here. We're going to go to the phones after we come back from break, asking a question about illness. I was, if by all things on paper, the least likely candidate to one day, March 31st of 2004, perfectly healthy, April 1st of 2004, to have my body physically change in a way I've never even seen before, as I'm giving a talk on living your greatest dream. Now I know about that. I know what that was about. I know that illness had to do more with my own doubt about my future. I was 6 months into the radio. It wasn't the acceptable thing for me to be doing. And how important is it for us to understand these emotional underpinnings to heal?
That's the first step of healing. In my experience, the first step is get clear what these emotional underpinnings are. I remember this woman showed up in my practice many years ago, and when I looked at her, it was like she was emanating red light over her whole body. Her skin complexion was red. I felt like red was coming out of her in every direction. And she walked in, and I know red is anger. And I walked in and I said, what's your disease? Why are you coming to visit me? And she said, oh, I have very, very serious rheumatoid arthritis. And I said, tell me about your anger, because I know arthritis and anger are very connected. And she said, I don't have any anger. And I said, it was almost shocking to me. I said, how did you not know that you don't have that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have to get to those, we have to find those root emotions, the fear, the anger, the sadness, and every organ system is connected to them. If you have lung issues, it's sadness. If you have heart issues, it's love. If you have any itis, it's anger. Fear is the other major one. Those two are the biggies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when you're in the middle of it, and this is what I love about the work that you do, for those of us that are in the middle of it, we can't see the forest for the trees. And that's why working with you and having you work with people that are ill, that are not well, is, first of all, you get to witness this for them. And then secondly, you get to really approach this from a very objective point of view. And I wanted to ask you, as a Sufi master, right? How has all of that and your personal story about healing and your, how should I say it, your timely divine intervention of being introduced into the Sufi way, how did all of that affect your journey and you personally?
I don't know. I think, in retrospect, 20 years later after it started, this has been 20 years since that time, I feel like it was divinely inspired. In a sense, I really believe that God was reaching out his or her hand, or however you want to call God, to me, and was essentially taking my hand through this illness and lifting me up. And this is, one of the understandings of Sufism is that everything that happens in life is ultimately sort of a divine trial or a divine play or a divine intervention. God is reaching out to us at all times. And when God wants to take us closer, in other words, and the way we get closer to God, by the way, is through taking on God's attributes like compassion and mercy and love. And so the way God helps us to get closer is by bringing to us what we need in any particular moment to bring forth what God is asking. So in my case, when I was sick, what God was saying to me personally was, Ibrahim, you've forgotten to love. And you're healing and you have consciousness that you don't know love. So he called down to me and he pulled me through that disease, and then he puts at the same time, he sends this Sufi master over to the United States, first time over there ever, and put me together with him. He was like saying, let's teach you to love. You need to learn that to come closer to me.
Well, this is part of the awakening that I think each of us get to have. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go right to the phones, but we're also going to give you lots of information about Dr. Jaffe, how to work with him directly, his upcoming classes, and also how to learn how to do this. It's amazing. He is a teacher, healer, all of the above, but most importantly, everything he does is heart-centered. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Talking in my sleep at night, making myself crazy. Out of my mind. Wrote it down and read it out, hoping it would save me.
Don't you wish you had more joy in your life? Check out the new book by Robert Max Schoenfeld, For the Love of Joy, a 30-day adventure for creating joy in your life, because you deserve more joy, more love, more health, more abundance, and more life. Available now on Amazon. Get your copy today. Visit theartofpowerfulliving.com. That's theartofpowerfulliving.com.
Are you searching? Looking for a sign? A message you need to hear? From the great unknown, from the most mysterious place that is the most familiar to your soul in the depths of who you are. The universe put someone here to talk to, someone God gave a blessing to, that you may find insight with. TheAngelLady.net. 1-800-323-1790.
In this day and age, if you don't reinvent yourself, you may never find balance, peace, and the sustainable life that is your birthright. Angela Watson Robertson, known as the Reinvention Warrior and the host of breakthrough radio show Masters of Reinvention, is here to help you reinvent every area of your life. Tune in and hear from the best in the personal transformation business and discover tips and tools for positive change. Live every month on Transformation Talk Radio.
Be you plus live your purpose equals joy. That's the motto of Unstuck Joy with Vicki Todd. Vicki believes you were born with gifts that are meant to make the world brighter. Each show will feature an art visioning journal prompt to help you create your way to soul clarity. If you're ready to get unstuck and create more joy, this show is for you.
Tune in the first and third Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. For more information, visit VickiWorldArt.com.
The Janice Underwood Show, helping you create the life you want, not the life you tolerate. Tune in each Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio as Janice delves into the life creator system and the next step in your spiritual evolution. Janice Underwood is gifted at helping spiritually minded people shift their mindsets to unleash the creator within. Our souls wish to wake us up. Those of us listening hear the call. Do you? For more information, visit JaniceUnderwood.com.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show, Talk Radio to Thrive By. I am so thrilled to be talking to all of you. We have got Talk Radio for all of us. Are you ready and willing and able to accept all of the abundance you can muster up in your life? Check us out, thedrpatshow.com, transformationtalkradio.com, transformationradio.fm. Oh my goodness. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Dr. Abraham Jaffe joining me here today. And, what we're talking about is one of several dialogues he and I will have as we move forward. The hidden energetic and spiritual causes behind all illnesses. Dr. Jaffe's life has been dedicated to really underscoring, what is at the core of this. Why is it that some people are able to recover completely and others not? And now with that, he takes his work out into the world. For more information, you can go to drjaffemd.com, and it's J-A-F as in Frank, F as in Frank, E, MD.com. And when you get there, you can sign up. And if you do, you'll get the Secrets of Self-Healing, a free 1-hour audio download, or you can send a text. Use the word healing. I love this. Text the word healing to 707-755-7511. Dr. Jaffe, before we continue, Mr. Benny has got one of our fabulous callers on with a question. Mr. Benny, who do we have?
Yes, it's Kathy calling in from New York. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi. Hello?
Welcome. Yeah, welcome to the show.
Taking my call.
You bet.
Hello?
How can we help you?
I went to a doctor yesterday, and I refused to accept his diagnosis and the way he wants to proceed. I was wondering if you see anything around that or anything around my healing that I could do.
What was the diagnosis he gave you, Kathy?
The C word.
Oh. Well, what I see, first of all, is that, like usual, when they put that C word out, we go into this entire collapse around, what's going to happen to us. And that's the programming of the medical system, is that we, once you have that, you're in trouble. And I think that you're hitting that. And, my experience is just the opposite, which is that so many people have healed from cancer that it doesn't have to be so frightening. And actually that by, really getting to the root issues and working on it, that you can heal it. And that's my sense with you as well, that, you feel very responsible to me. You're going to really look for, both the inner and outer dimension of it, the inner being, what might be the emotional traumas and the stresses leading to it. The outer is, what do you need to do to support your system, through herbs, nutrition, diet, and if you do need to do chemo and radiation, you'll do it, in a very educated way. And I think if you put all that together, your outcomes are going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think you don't have to be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah. And Dr. Jaffe, clearly there are people, that also are hearing diagnosis. What is the best way for them to find out more about you, your work? Because this is clearly an opportunity to really learn something here? As you and I were talking about our own personal journeys, what's the best way for folks to do that?
Well, I think, if people go to my website, drjaffemd.com, listen to the Secrets of Self-Healing course, because you'll learn some of the practices. We have a foundations course, which is essentially a 3-month course for people with, diagnoses like cancer and, many, many diseases. And many, many people who do that course have really turned their lives around. And I'll tell you the basics of it. It's very simple. Step 1 is we need the connection to God in a special way, to the essence of God. A lot of people connect to God, but really they're not even sure what they're connecting to. So we teach you really to find the light of God and really teach you to connect to it and understand what God is asking of you. The second piece is your issues, and we know, in the C word that there's always a major trauma that shows up, usually prior to it coming forward. We have to find that trauma and heal it, and then look at the things that are related to that trauma. So usually it's some type of loss. So we find that and work on that. And of course, the final step is, using, complementary medicine methods to support your body, in whichever way you go. In other words, you may choose to do chemoradiation or not. You should check and find out, make sure. But, frequently we've seen people that when they address the inner and use, outer support, the diseases sometimes disappear in as little as 6 to 8 weeks, and they go away. So it doesn't have to be that way. And, many people do go through chemo and radiation, and when they apply, they get to those traumas and those stressors and they heal them, many times the chemo and radiation really works. We've seen people where it wasn't working, and then they handled the loss, and all of a sudden, the next chemo session they did, the tumor disappeared. So, this getting to these traumatic aspects are very essential. I call it the glue. Once you get that in place, then the chemo and radiation often just washes it right out. Sometimes you don't even need the chemo and radiation because it washes it right out. You see? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Thank you both so much.
Yeah, and we're with lots of information. Please check out Dr. Jaffe's work. There's lots of opportunities, and of all things, don't give up hope. Okay.
Yeah, be strong.
Be strong. I mean, that's why Dr. Jaffe and I are actually here today. Sometimes it really takes hope, but what I like to say is hope in action. Hope in action. We have another caller for the show, Dr. Jaffe. Mr. Benny, why don't we do that
we'll
before we go to break?
Yeah, sure. Sorry to interrupt. Carrie from Solana Beach, California.
Hi, Carrie. Welcome to the show. How can we help you today?
Thank you. I wanted to know, because I've been having some hip pain on the right side. I was born with a hip issue, and it recently has been getting kind of worse. And then also, I noticed that my mom and I coincide with a lot of aches and pains that we may have. We currently are both having hip pain, and it's happened before. It's not like an all-the-time thing, but it does coincide sometimes. And I'm wondering what this hip pain is about for both of us,
this is something where you got to get in there and really look at it. Each person's a little bit different. But, generally, hips are about generating power. And it's about generating power in your walking, on the outer. In other words, your actual power in your legs comes out of your hips. But on the inner levels, when we say walking, we mean your spiritual journey. You're walking with your spiritual journey. So usually when hips are active, it means that the person is somehow feeling marginalized or afraid or not strong or not empowered in their walking forward in their spiritual journey. And that's generally been what I find is the source of most hip problems is why does the person feel they can't move forward? Where do they feel they're not strong enough? What are they afraid of? What's in their life that is stopping them in some way? And, and the second thing, of course, is that, parents and children are very connected, and very frequently we see what I call lineage things happening, where the same pattern that was in your grandmother and your mother, you, your kids, it passes down that lineage because that teaching is very, very intrinsic. And often it's carried in the emotions, it's carried in the energy, it's carried in the heart, the soul. And generation after generation after generation will carry that same process and sync up with each other. But the beauty about it is that if you heal it, you may heal it for your entire generation, meaning your mom might heal, your kids might heal, your great-grandmother might heal. All of it happens through you. So you become the point person for the healing.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, what do you make of that? That is interesting, isn't it? It's a new perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it had something to do with something on the, I don't know. I didn't know what it had to do with. I thought it was my positioning at work, the ergonomics, or, not enough exercise or something. I didn't know what it was, but the fact that we both kind of have the same issue and it happens every now and then was really interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the real key, that you both have the same issue at the same time. It can't be ergonomics or posture because you're different people. So it's got to be something other than that. And so that leaves that, where's your connection with each other? It's not that you're sitting in the same chair or something. It's there's some way you're thinking or you're acting or your emotions or some issue in your life together that you're walking through in a similar way, and you're reflecting it back and forth to each other.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So we both are going through a transition that can seem a little scary and frightening, and it is related to each other. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
How do you heal the generational suffering?
Good question.
That's an amazing question. Well, the way I do it is in a number of ways. One, of course, is there are literally like roadways of light that connect the generations. So when you start to use your imagination, you'll actually see literally like light roadways that go from you to your mom to your grandma, and it can go back many, many, many generations where people will be working out similar issues. For example, somebody I was working on just the other day, when we went back in her pattern, she was dealing with the fact that she had a lot of rage inside of her. And when she got in touch with the rage, she saw it in her mom, she saw it in her grandma. But then when she really went into her imagination, the depth of herself, she realized that actually her family carried a bloodline from the Chinese emperor. She's Chinese. So she had the Chinese emperor, which, was a very powerful force in China. There was a lot of, power dynamics, killing, fighting, war for centuries, over that, that emperor. And she was carrying all that power and violence in her own system. And when she understood that that was what she was fighting on in herself, that she was afraid of that light that was in her own being generationally, and so the way she dealt with it was by keeping herself as the victim. But once she was able to embrace that light, embrace that power, and recognize that she wanted to deal with it but not become it, then all of a sudden she was able to break through healing. But she had to find that peace first.
Mm-hmm.
What
do you do it through like regression, or how do you heal that?
Well, I work a little differently with it, not really through regression, but what I find is that, like in your case, you have hip pain. So we would go into your hip pain and we would connect it to the light of God, because God's light is the truth. And so when we connect to God's light, it brings the truth out of any situation. So we would connect you to God's very, very deep light. It would open your hip pain up, and out of that hip pain, we would see images, or the images which would either be yours or your family's. Like you you might start to see images of, for example, Chinese emperors, or you might start to see images of your mom, or you might see your own images, where you were, let's say, afraid to move forward in your life, maybe now with your mom, but maybe that also happened when you were 12, and maybe when you were 4, and these images will stack up on each other, and you'll see these multiple images showing up. And once we find the images, then we bring them back to the light of God, where there's ways of invoking God's light to actually wash and clean those images out of us. Once they're cleaned, then we get the final step, which is, it's interesting that when God feels that we've done our work, meaning that we've taken responsibility and we've cleaned the things that God wants us to clean, then God sends down, and you can feel it, it's like this incredible transmission of light comes in and just takes it away, and then
Is that a permanent, result?
It's permanent, yeah. It's absolutely permanent. I mean, sometimes you get what I call petals and onion layers, which is that sometimes you've got to do it layer after layer before the final piece is gotten. But my experience is each layer you do, you get a regression of your own.
That's interesting. That's really, really interesting. I'll definitely take a look at your site today.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say, because it's not only about understanding how others are healed, but what if we could learn how to do this for ourselves and then help others? I mean, isn't this an incredible shift in energy and consciousness we now have? So, yeah, please take a look at Dr. Jaffe, MD, and get a hold of Dr. Jaffe and see what's possible for you.
The shift is very incredible because in nursing school, they are now having holistic medicine courses, and they are going to the aromatherapy courses. They're taking rotations, with Reiki, and even hospitals are paying their employees. They're paying their employees to go to Reiki, to learn this energy healing technique. So it is integrating into medicine. So it is shifting.
Yeah, this is the time, because it's interesting. We've got this polarity going on where, in some ways, medicine is, we're reaching, atomic levels now with the DNA visualization through these electron microscopes, and we're mapping the genetics, and we're understanding the body in a way that never was understood before, and results are coming out of that. We're learning how to shift things through that side. But the downside of that, of course, is that it also brings a leaning towards materialism. In other words, we start to think that only through that system can we heal. So it's interesting that at the same moment that we're, in a way, going deeper into our material aspects of healing, of allopathic medicine, we're simultaneously getting the other side of it, the spiritual side, opening up. And the beauty is the two together is actually the answer. We need to bring both sides together, give the people the best of both worlds, then they have the best chance to heal.
Yes, it is progressing. That is wonderful to hear.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You bet. Wow. Dr. Jaffe, have a great, great holiday. Dr. Jaffe, it's really important, and to really listen to how wise our listeners are, how much they bring forward, and how aware they are about the world of possibilities. And that leads us to really talking more about the effectiveness. And you started to talk about it with our fabulous listeners calling in. But there really are keys to possibility of self-healing. And I mentioned hope briefly. Tell us about these possibilities more and what you've seen. And I know we're going to be talking about much more in future shows.
Well, I mean, I really am at the point of believing that almost all illnesses can be healed, in this way. So, and I'm a physician. physician, and I really believe that there's a synergy that needs to happen. But the way I hold it is that there's a couple of key factors. One is this connection to God is so essential, and people don't realize it. I mean, people talk about, needing religion, spirituality to bring meaning to life. But I think what people don't realize is that actually it's even further than that the spiritual side of it is the very essence of what's going on. So when people bring the light of God in and they develop themselves spiritually, and for me, spiritual means to bring in the attributes of God, to become more loving, more holy, more full of wisdom, more full of light, compassion, mercy. When people, start to bring in those attributes, this is the very purpose, in my opinion, of life, period. So that spiritual connection to God is, the essential part of all of it. And, I've just seen so many miracles, in my years as a physician when people connect to that light. It's really unbelievable.
Yeah. So, and what I love about this is that we're starting to see more and more of not just an acceptance, but looking at ways to really create shifts to the root and the true root of an illness. And I think that's what we were talking about before. It's one thing to have a symptom at bay, meaning there's a symptom that shows up in your body and we treat the symptom. And for some period of time, we think we're doing pretty good with that. And then all of a sudden we realize we're not. I mean, isn't that part of why you are going in the direction you're going, is to say, wait a minute, we can do something to cure people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Most of traditional medicine is palliative. If somebody has high blood pressure, you give them antihypertensives, but you haven't healed them.
Yeah.
But the truth is they can be healed. So how do you do it? Well, you give the high blood pressure medicines because you don't want them to have a stroke. You want them to be safe. And frankly, there's nothing better than allopathic medicine to do that. But once you've done that, now you get in and you say, okay, why is the person having high blood pressure? And what you almost always find is that high blood pressure has to do with very, very deep conflicts within a person's heart, that they're very stressed out because one side of them is going one way and one side of them is going the other way, and they can't resolve that conflict. And it's not the personality conflict. It's something that lives in their heart, not in the physical heart, but their emotional heart. Like, should I stay in my marriage or should I leave my marriage? Should I stay in my job or leave my job? Should I take the job where I make a lot of money or should I do what I really love? And these conflicts inside their heart is about what we love. It's about what is intrinsic to our being. So when people are not choosing the depth of what they really want to do, it creates a pressure inside of them that's usually reflected in the blood pressure going up. Mm-hmm. Once we get to those roots, we can actually often bring the blood pressure down.
Mm. Well, and as we said, we're going to be. We have many, many shows we're going to do together. But you've also created The Secrets of Self-Healing. It's a free 1-hour audio download. That's available on your website, Dr. Jaffe, drjaffemd.com, and it's JAFFEMD.com, drjaffemd.com. Or you can text the word healing to 707-755-7511. Thank you for an amazing show. I've got one last question for you. Thank you for all that you do. What is your personal message? What would you like to leave all of us with here today?
Yeah, I think to know that we're reaching a time where every individual needs to know how to understand the roots of why their lives aren't working, whether it's illness, jobs, or whatever. And that through the wisdom of understanding those roots, we can transform our lives, and that we have the power to do that, and that we're not victims, but we're actually incredibly capable human beings.
Yeah. Dr. Jeffy, thank you so much for all that you do. What a powerful, powerful way to start our day today. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you, Pat. Thank you for having me on your radio show. Thank you very much.
Oh, my gosh. I want to thank all of our listeners for turning us on. I certainly want to give a shout out to the folks that called in. I mean, your questions are so enlightening and so educational for all of us. And yet at the same time, those of us that have gone on a healing journey, as myself, we understand what happens when you hear the words that you hear from a doctor. So my heart goes out to all of you, and also the hope that many of us stand on the shoulders of others. There is a way for you to heal. And today, I hope you heard something that helps you stay strong, be well. We'll see you next time.
Preceding audio was via a Skype call.